The Browns have a shakeup in the front office. Paul DePodesta no longer with the organization. We're going to break that down, talk through everything from kind of like when he was brought to Cleveland to his job description to what it means for the future. We'll cover all of that. And then, as is a thing I've been meaning to get to for Brad and I ahead of the first game out of the bye week, is the first half superlatives. I'd like to put some perspective on what has happened in the first half, player recognition. So we'll do all of that in today's show. A very busy one. Browns Film Breakdown brought to you by Monfredi Dental and FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's get going right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome into today's show, Friday, November 7th. A very busy show all of a sudden, because something that I think, me personally, it's a nuanced discussion about Paul DePodesta. It's not black and white. Browns probably preferred it that way. But I had been thinking for a long time, and this dates back to last year on these episodes, where I just wanted to see the Browns operate as an organization without his presence. He is stepping down, or whatever labeling you want to use here. He has been offered the head of baseball operations with the Rockies, and it appears that is a done deal. So that would mean he is out with the Browns and is taking that opportunity. And what I understand, Brad, is that's an opportunity that he was presented with, and he is taking that opportunity. Now, I don't know if his contract was up. There's a lot of mystery here. Was his contract up at the end of the season? Was it working on some other even shorter term basis because he was looking to get back into the world of baseball? There's a lot of mystery around this decision. I think a lot of Browns fans, and I understand this because of the results of the last decade, want to believe that the Browns are going to live without him anymore, firing him, ending the relationship, however way you want to phrase that. But we really didn't receive any clarity on that today. Now, that could come in the future, but what we do know is he seems to be out of that role. We'll see if they fill that role, but he's out of the chief strategy officer role and is moving on back to baseball, where he found the most success, quite obviously, and will be taking on a very challenging Colorado Rockies organization that is not winning very many ball games. No. So I think it comes down to what you want to believe he wanted. If you want to believe he wanted to get back into a baseball space that he's been out of for 10 years and has a desire to run, maybe this is an opportunity to run something from the top down he didn't get anywhere else. There's a lot of gray area, conjecture-based things that we can do with this, but the relationship with Cleveland is over, and it turns into just how you feel about that, Brad, because there's nothing. I mean, there is something that matters, which is we learned that the Browns didn't want to continue the relationship. We'll see, but it is over. So the reaction to it is they're going to move forward without him, and what that all means for everybody involved in this thing.
I think it's fantastic for the organization, regardless of what his motivation was here. Either way, it's a good thing for the Browns, I think. So let's start there. I think there's some rumors out there, and I don't want to deal in like innuendo and rumor really, but like there's some rumors out there that potentially like a meeting didn't go very well over the bye week. I saw somewhere, and that might have led to like this decision. Casey had brought up that I think that he said he had one more year on his contract. So like this would have been the off season to renegotiate that. So I don't know if that's, we can look that up or whatever, but either way, however you get here, and I think that, I don't know, I said this and we kind of went back and forth that there's no way to know for sure, right? Really, at this point, because we don't have any reporting on it. I would like to think that the Browns made this decision. It would make me feel better about it, that he didn't just walk away from it, because it was kind of a cushy job for him, and to go take this job with the Rockies, which is a lot more challenging, and his feet will be held to the fire to flat out get success, and he'll be held accountable for their transaction. You know what I mean? He wasn't really in that position in Cleveland, which is a little bit different, but we don't know. Either way, it's a positive thing. because as much as, and I know we're going to play a clip, right, of like what he said his job was.
Mhm.
I have this feeling, Jake, and I feel very confident in saying that he had Haslam's ear, and all of the major decisions that have gone on in 9.5 years of him being here, he's either been in on those conversations in the room or on a Zoom call and a part of the conversation. I feel very confident in saying that. So to pretend that he didn't have an impact on what was happening with this organization, I think would be neglectful.
Yes, you're talking about around the time frame of like when he comes to Cleveland, 2016. I'm just trying to make sure my facts are straight on this. He was the vice president of player development for the Mets.
Yep.
He was around the Padres for a while after his experience, and at the young age of 31, after the Oakland A's experience there with Billy Beane, he got the general manager job with the Dodgers, and it didn't go very well, not as quickly as I think everyone thought it would based on the results out in Oakland. But he
Yeah.
was around baseball and in prominent positions. He was the special assistant for baseball operations in San Diego. What I'm getting at is he was a very well respected voice around the cultural change of baseball. He was a prominent figure. They made a movie about his experiences.
He inspired a lot of the change of
He
the
wouldn't
way
have
a lot
come
of
to
teams.
Cleveland if he didn't have something very meaningful to do here. Like, I
Absolutely.
really believe that he didn't come to Cleveland to have, and I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong about like it's a cushy job. And I know where you're saying that from like the perspective of holding him accountable for things that go on here. I'm echoing what you're also saying about like to pretend he didn't have a role, a voice that mattered. And whether that voice is like the GM, the head coach, and the owner talk about things, and then Jimmy calls him and says, "Hey, here's what I need your advice on this," or whether he's at that table with them, he's getting an opinion on the subject that matters. Like, I firmly believe that. There have been little
Me
bits and
too.
pieces of things that have come out around the years, and he did get a 5-year extension in 2021. So he was coming up on the end of his contract soon. So like, I do think that I mean, again, it's conjecture, but like, did he think there was a pathway to extending that relationship with the Brown? Maybe he didn't know, or maybe genuinely he's just like, I'd prefer to get back into baseball after a while away from it. Maybe we get that answer, maybe we don't. But the one thing I will not pretend is kind of two things off of that. I won't pretend he made these decisions alone, but I won't also pretend that he wasn't a heavy opinion that mattered in these decisions that mattered. And I'm talking everything from draft picks to coaching decisions throughout the week. Let's do this real quick. Let me play the clip of him at his introductory press conference talking about what his role is as the chief strategy officer and how it all relates to the processes, not just the big decision processes, but the small ones as well.
Look, Kevin talked a lot today about a shared vision, right? I think my role, really first and foremost, is to not only help us create, but also implement that shared vision, and then ultimately make sure that we stick to it, really relentlessly. And that's really my role. So I look at all the processes that are within a football operation. And whether that's hiring someone, whether that's how we do scouting, whether it's how we, look at things, with numbers, I, sort of dig into all those processes and make sure that they align with our vision, and that we all, as a group, continue to stay aligned and be on the same page, as Kevin said.
So will you be involved in the draft?
Sure.
And what role will you play in the draft?
A process-oriented role. I'm not going to pick the players, but I am going to try to make sure that the players we do pick, again, align with our vision of what we believe is a winning franchise. I've had the opportunity to be around some great organizations, in multiple sports. And one thing that's pretty clear across all of them is that they all have an identity, right? A way. You hear about the Patriot way, or back in the day, the Dodger way, or whatever it might be. The teams that are great are relentless about implementing that way, and that's what we need to do here. And I think that's really my charge. So my charge is not to watch tape and say, oh man, this guy's got great feet. We've got scouts who are way better and way more qualified than I am to do that. But when we come down to make a selection, it is my role to say, okay, are we making a decision here that actually aligns with our way? And does it make sense?
It's going to be something that I'm hard pressed to come off of believing he didn't have a voice that mattered. And I mean, there is a chance that his voice was effective in ways that we didn't know.
Yeah.
It could have been, I mean, because again, we're not in the building, and maybe he was like, I don't think Deshaun Watson's a good idea. I don't know. I don't believe that to be the case. I think that they were all blood packed aligned on that. But I'm talking about, like, we won't know his opinion on everything, and we ultimately won't know like what the percentage is of his, but I know he was in, and I know he had an opinion that mattered. And I'm not even like so much to say like happy I'm curious what it look, and maybe we won't even get it. Maybe they're moving on from people at a rate that's going to be expedited over the next few months. But I was interested talking about this literally like a year's time ago when he was a large driving voice and like, we need to change the offense for Deshaun Watson. And hey, last year I was frustrated with it because I'm like, this is awful. They clearly can't do it. But this year they went back to what Kevin's doing and it doesn't work either way. So like, I just at the time was bothered by his opinion changing the scope of an offensive staff and the direction of the scheme for them. And like, I guess what I'm getting at is at that time, I was like, I'm curious what the Browns' decision-making looks like without him. We can't sit here and say he's been a ghost because we were just up there on the sideline and he was out on the sideline of that Miami game. He was definitely there. So I think he's been around. I think he still has an important voice all these years later. And you can be bummed out about his heavy involvement in the 1-31. And I think there's reasonable expectation to be bummed out about he gets a contract extension, has all the power in the world as of 2022's decision to bring in Deshaun Watson. So I don't feel like he would be vehemently against it if they made that choice. So I feel like I was really more interested in giving the guys a chance to work away from his shadow.
100%.
But maybe we don't get that, Brad. I don't know. And I'm kind of at the point where I've separated those guys from him anyway. But that's just some interesting stuff that kind of lingers here.
It does linger because, will they even get that opportunity now because of him or not, because of all of them? But like, does it even happen now, right? Like, I know for one thing, I think it's one less building or one less voice in the building supporting Kevin. It would feel right?
Most likely,
It's his guy he brought in, so you would think that he would continue to have his, support him. Well, it feels like they've kind of cut the legs off of Kevin's power at times, and I wonder if that comes from him a little bit too, as well. Like driving football decisions from that position doesn't seem like sound process, Jake.
No, and I would think it's not. He talked about that in the clip there. It's less like you're picking Jedrick Wills and more like we're narrowing down the choices to these guys and like limits the scope of certain things. Or if he's involved in weekly game plan meetings, hey, we need to hit 65% pass in this game. To like stuff like that I'm not trying to be offensive to Paul in any way here. And I don't know, maybe they took his advice and then did their own thing. I don't have insight on this, and there's a select few who do. And honestly, it's remarkable for a place that's so leaky over the last 20 years to have no real idea on this yet. Maybe as they make more decisions on Kevin and Andrew, we get more of that stuff that just sort of like starts script. But it has been very tight-lipped over there about who's the driving force on all of this stuff. And usually that stuff comes when people are terminated, right? So we'll see if that comes about. But I do think that his influence, while not maybe crippling on the macro or on the micro level, could have been crippling more on the macro level, the wide scope, here's how we need to do these things. And like, I think, again, it's dangerous with a guy who hasn't lived the NFL world looking at process and all of that. And it's just clear that it's not working. And I can't tell you what Paul was doing that was working. I can't. So Take that for
56,
what it's worth.
99 and 1 is his record here. 56, 99, 1. Now 1 and 31 of that is the tank that, he orchestrated, I guess.
I think most people back then felt like Sashi was the puppet for DePodesta.
Yes, very much so. An extension of him, right? And
Right.
like I said, it's not defined. We don't know yet, but I feel so confident in saying that he had a seat at the table for all the major decisions.
Yeah. I agree. And I feel like I'm just interested in seeing what it looks like without him. Whether we get the full scope of that, I don't know. And I don't think the Browns are going to be worse off with him back in baseball. Maybe the
100%.
Guardians will be. Maybe he capitalizes on something they're doing wrong. I don't know. We'll see.
You've said this before, I think, and I don't want to take words from your mouth, but it feels short-sighted to think that you can apply the numbers game of baseball analytics to football. And I don't know how much of that went on, but it would feel silly to think that some of that didn't try to get applied.
Oh,
And
without
it's
a
just-
doubt. He was definitely interested in taking his thoughts on the analytic world and applying it to football.
It's like, round.
What's the equivalent of his he gets on base theory for baseball?
Yeah.
What is that for football?
How does that work in football? It doesn't work because there's such a human factor to football, right?
He blocks his man. I don't know. What does he do? He blocks his guy. I don't know. I really don't know what the equivalency is because baseball is very singular lane. It's a pitcher, a hitter, and a fielder. Football's got blocking, throwing, running, catching, whole bunch of variables there. So
there's
it's
two outcomes, right?
Yeah.
When you're at the plate in baseball.
And it's one-on-one all the time. Man, baseball is just one-on-one where football is like the whole of all of it, plays such a difference to the outcome. It's different. It's hard. And I understand that we're in a far better place. This isn't an anti-analytics podcast. Let's get that clear, folks.
Yeah.
We believe in number collection, number analyzation is a piece of the puzzle here. But I think getting into a world where football is driven by a number, where baseball, I think, just has clearer pathways to that makes some sense, even though as a baseball consumer, I think it has done some damage to baseball as far as the entertainment value of the product. I just don't even think it's possible to do it in football. I don't think it's possible. It's too much. It's like chess and checkers to me, man. You just can't.
Two different worlds,
Yeah.
man. Like, think about in the movie Moneyball when he talks about Dave Justice. And at that point in his career, he was washed up, right? But they were like, dude gets on base, right? Doesn't matter what he provides in the locker room. Doesn't matter this. He doesn't care about that. But all he does, he gets on base. And that's all we want him to do. That's all we care about, right?
There's sort of definitely some parallels to you bringing in a player who you think does this right, but you don't consider the person, you don't consider the locker room influence,
right?
And a lot of that stuff. There is definitely, not to cut you off here. I think I knew where you were heading with that, which is
that and how do you equivalent that to football where guys lose a step when they at different ages and their personalities do matter.
Yeah.
From play to play, from down to down. It's people. It's human.
Yeah.
It's so much more human, I think. I don't know.
It's larger scope of players. I mean, you're doubling the amount of guys, and you're also doubling the amount of guys. Baseball has at any given moment 2 people doing something. 3 people if you include the catcher for most of the game. Football's got 22 guys moving around the field all game, nonstop.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that everything Paul did was dumb. I'm not saying the attempt wasn't peculiar, interesting. I think they had I actually respected the teardown when they did it. I respected the asset collection, but it's just become clear that between how Andrew has decided to run the cap and the failure of the Watson trade, they have hindered themselves in a way that they're going to have to dig out of for a long time. Maybe Paul didn't want to see that through. I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows around all this. So,
yeah.
But that's the Paul DePodesta experience. It's a bunch of I don't know, because that's how they orchestrated it. Maybe we'll learn something someday. Maybe we won't. But it's been real, Paul, and it's at times been fun, but I would say it's not been collectively real fun.
No.
So all the best in Colorado, brother. Make sure you find some pitchers out there. We are going to take a break, come back, and then we have some first half Brown superlatives for fun that we want to do. We will be right back.
Welcome back in to Brown's Film Breakdown. Jake, it's the midway. Well, kind of. You can't really have a true midway point in the NFL anymore with the schedule being 17 games. But we are going to do some superlatives here, kind of a little halfway point award ceremony, if you will. So let's get that underway here.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it's a good way to analyze how the performances have felt and give you some second half forecasting as well.
Yeah. So I want to start with let's start with this. The defense has been real strong. Who would be your? It's probably a pretty easy one. Defensive player of the first half.
Yeah, if we do the thing where we're like set Myles Garrett aside because he is, he's been as good as he's ever been. Maybe not as pressure impactful because of the way teams have been playing the Browns defense to get rid of the football quick and be fine punting and keep scores low. We've gone through this, we've documented it, but he's insane. So if you take him out of it, I think you can make a case for two players. I think you can make a case for Carson Schlesinger, and I think you can make a case for Malik Collins.
I think
both of which have been very good. I think the reason I would settle in on, and Denzel's a consideration piece too, and Delpit's had moments, so those are all fine. But the Browns went through a linebacker crisis, and when you lose JOK to injury and you're still not certain about where that's moving, and then you have Jordan Hicks abruptly retire, it's hard. It was hard to look at this linebacker room and feel optimistic about it. And he steps in. He's a Mike from day one, handling communication, handling everything that matters to the position and playing it at a high level. I think it's hard to go away from Carson Schlesinger. We'll see what happens with this ankle the rest of the way. But as far as like hitting the ground running, it's a home run. So I feel like collectively he's the answer for me.
I would agree. I would probably give it to him as well. Taking Myles out of it, obviously, as the shoe-in winner. But so Schlesinger, I would say this. I would have pushed harder for Delpit because I thought he was having an all-pro caliber first half until the most recent game.
Yeah, New England. Josh McDaniels put him in hell.
There was
one deep throw that I thought he got pushed really egregiously, but there were a lot of snaps where he was kind of spinning. I'm with you on
that. But up into that point, I thought he had played like an elite level and was in all pro caliber.
Still a Pro Bowl player in my opinion right now. So hopefully they can work that out.
Bounce back.
That's the way. Okay, I like it.
All right, switch sides of the ball real quick. Let's go to offensive player of the first half for you. This is a tough one, right?
Limited. It's pretty limited. There's not really. It's probably between two rookies, right? It's probably between Fannin and Judkins.
I was gonna go Judkins.
Yeah, I'll make the case for Fannin. He's the only offensive weapon that's been meaningful in the pass game the entire stretch of this run. There were some moments for other guys. In terms of pass catching, not specifically, what Judkins is doing there collectively, but I think Judkins is the right answer. I think probably would feel more inclined to go with Fannin if he was blocking a little bit better, but that's hard and it's early. But yeah, man, I think Judkins is just their most valuable when their offense is doing anything of value. He's usually the one driving the bus, and really Fannin has had a couple 3 or 4 drops in some big moments too that have needed to be plays to be made by him. And he's talked about this. So I think he's the second place on this. And that's great that, it's great. It's bad and it's good simultaneously, I guess, but he's been very fun in his first day. But yeah, Judkins is just the most consistent, even though he missed the first game and was sort of limited there in the second game. And it's good to see him off the injury report for this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's the one, but it is not a very tight race. Let's put it that way.
I just kind of think where would they be without him, right?
Agreed.
Even worse. Way worse.
It's hard to imagine it, but it would have to be imagined without him.
Yeah. So let's go to biggest disappointment.
Now we're talking about competition. Boy, can I say the entire offensive line? You can. I'm like, my opinion on this is I think I had a pretty good feel for everybody this year. I think you can make a logical case for Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
I think there's some guys you can pick, but like I thought the offensive line would just be better with Bloomgren getting back to more stuff they're comfortable with, even though that didn't render itself to be true. But I thought they would be better, and they have been destructively bad at times. So I think most of the disappointments are going to be on that side of the ball. And for me, it's just like what I expected the offensive line to be, which is just like, can you be an average unit? I thought it was clear they could be for what they've been. Really, really disappointing collectively there. And I hate doing the whole group thing, but like,
Yeah.
I don't think you can separate them out. I really don't.
I think that's fair. I was going to go with Judy. Now,
That's a good answer too.
some of that you got to put on the quarterback because at times he's just running wind sprints, but the egregious amount of drops and like his inability to, after what looked like a year where he was, breaking out, like not catch the ball with his hands on a regular basis and continue to kind of not be fundamentally sound makes me really question where we are with like Chad O'Shea and things like that. It's just he's just been a real disappointment as far as I'm concerned.
Like individual player basis, that's the right answer. That's the right answer. I just have found myself, to your point there about like quarterback play has been a thing. The O-line's had, they've had Conklin for plenty of games. I understand DeJuan left, but if you're like, well, our season got decimated as an O-line because we lost DeJuan Jones, like, really? What happened to Cornelius Lucas? What's happened to Wyatt? Like, it is across the board a major disappointment. So that's where I land.
100%. All right. Biggest surprise. So I guess this could be, I have it in a positive light. So like biggest surprise.
I think we keep it that way. We could be like 15 negative surprises.
Yeah.
I think Devin Bush, who's been like an every down, really consistently good linebacker for them this year. Couple games where there's been some moderate slip ups here and there, but I don't think any of us expected when the season started to get what we got out of Sweat, and then let alone to get a consistent every down player out of. Like a lot of folks, clearly myself included, thought like Mahmoud Diabate was going to run that role with Carson, but it has been Devin Bush from day one. He's like fourth on the team in snaps or something like that. Fifth. He plays a ton, and he's been really good. So I think that's the one I just didn't see coming at all. But there's some other good opportunities here too.
Yeah, I was going to go Miles Harden.
That's a good one. Yeah.
He may not have played like to the overall quality of maybe this award, but like for a position that we thought was going to be a real weakness, I think that he has stepped up and done even more than like I was hoping for. Like I was hoping for him to play like at a base level, like just don't be a liability on a down-to-down basis. But I think at times he's even been better than that. At least like some of the advanced analytic coverage grades will tell you that as well. Like PFF has him as in the top 30 coverage players in the NFL. So
this came out of nowhere with some success there, and when they needed it. And I know we were hard on them about not signing a player there. So for him to do that has been nice. Aiden Huntington's probably another one that we would honorable mention him. In that side, he's obviously trying to come back from some stuff on his end. He dealt with some stuff, but he's been a nice positive one. But I think Bush makes the most sense.
Bush makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
In that one.
Playing really, really good football. So
and one of the highest linebacker grades in the league right now, top 7 or 8. So take that for what it's worth if you're a grade guy.
Didn't see that coming, that's for sure. So fits that biggest surprise role. But two guys that have surprises, I think. Most improved player this year. I know who I'm taking here.
Go ahead if you got one queued up.
I am going to take Alex Wright.
That's probably it. That's probably the fair answer. Honestly, I know we don't know Malik Collins that well from his time not with the Browns, but he is putting together by far his best season in the league. He's had I mean, I want to be careful. He's had years of pressure numbers that were pretty good. I mean, he had 45 and 48 over the 2 years before Cleveland, but the run defense stuff has been a big step in the right direction for him compared to other years. So yeah, that's another name I'd likely consider. And Devin Bush is probably considered in that spot too, but I think it's Alex Wright or Ronnie Hickman is probably it.
Oh, that's a
Hickman
good
has
call
played
too.
exceptionally well across. I think he has the most snaps. He does. He has 15 more snaps than Schlesinger on the year. He's led them in snaps. He's, as far as coverage goes, he's allowed 9 catches on 16, only 84 yards in coverage, 31 tackles, a low missed tackle rate. I mean, I can do this while we're going through it and look at some of the
Really
collective
solid.
safeties across the coverage grades, but
Yeah.
he's turned into for what they asked that player to do, which is, to be fair, not highest levels of stress,
No.
as you often get to play sort of that roaming middle field position. But I mean, it's been pretty good, man. It's been pretty good.
I guess maybe my thoughts on Alex Ritter, like at one point in his career, I wasn't sure he would even get to where he was last year, and he's even come farther this year. So that, I guess that's where I come off on that. But there's a couple guys to make a really good case for, and I think you named them. Yeah, absolutely.
So Hickman's grade is across safeties that have played 50% of 623 snaps, 4th best in the league. Kyle Hamilton's at an 81, Jalen Petrie in Houston, Jalen Hawkins in New England, and then Hickman is in front of Talanoa Hufanga in Denver and some others in front of Minkah Fitzpatrick. So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty good,
impressive.
man. Just pretty good across the board. But I also do agree with you. I do think it is Alex Wright. I mean, let me see here. I want to make sure I have his grade right. And he might not have the total number of snaps. You do 20%. So if you do 20% of 503 snaps, which does put some qualifier level on it. So you are talking about 128 qualifying edge players there. He has the 7th highest defense grade. He has the 4th highest run defense grade. Not as productive in pass rush, which is somewhere that I think people would hope he would be better, but he still has put up 3 sacks, 7 pressures. You want the pressure rate to be high, but he's more of, again, he's a big body run setting defensive end, and I think he's had a really good season.
He kind of knows his role across from Miles. You just kind of get some sacks, cleaning up business back there. You know what I mean? So,
and again, how the offenses are structuring their way against the Browns defense is a big part of all of it, and how much time they have to get home to the quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I think those are 2 very fair ones. I don't think you can pick a wrong one between those 2. Probably.
No, I think that's fair too.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the next
award?
one here?
We'll cut it right down the middle and hand it to both guys. Yeah, let's do the next one.
Yeah, we got enough money. We can give out two shipping these out, right? Okay.
Times are good.
We can send out 2 trophies. I don't care. We'll splurge. All right. The He's Gotta Go award. May have to get about a couple of these, but I was gonna apply this. This is where I'm bringing in the offensive line. They can line up here, and specifically, Conklin. I know he's probably the best.
I can't read that he's on the injury report again. It's miserable to read, and I don't mean to be offensive to him. It's not like he's trying to get hurt. I just am over the experience, is the way I would say it.
And Pochich at this point is I just am so tired. It's he's very mediocre. It's not terrible, but he's got to go for me. I'd like to see Whippler in there and just give him a shot. But the whole offensive line really, they got to go for me.
Yeah, I would say those are fair. Guys that you're just tired of watching, can't stand to see much more of it. It probably is Conklin for me. Not that, again, he's not playing that bad when he's out there.
He's just never available.
The availability numbers are not good enough, and just kind of tired of wondering, if he's gonna play. So that's probably. But there's others that I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't want to see Cornelius Lucas play anymore. Really tired of that experience. KT Leviston's tough on the eyeballs sometimes.
Yeah.
I would say I'm not saying Bond has to go here, but I'm tired of watching throws in his direction that lead to very little result.
Yep.
So I would say let's he's got to go back to the back of the depth chart would be the angle on that one.
Yeah.
But otherwise it's hard to pick on too many guys on defense and say they gotta go. So that's probably the spot. I guess DeMonte Casey answered that for himself. He had to go. He chose to go on his own fruition.
Fine with me.
Yeah, I think most of these guys are offense guys, and I would think a lot of people are probably in the camp of seeing Jerry Jeudy go. I think that there's a lot of folks who are that frustrated with his play, body language, and some of that.
Yeah.
At times, even though I don't think that's fair given the nature of where this offense is. So,
he's been by far my biggest disappointment. I just can't say he's got to go because I'm afraid they don't have any NFL receivers if they get rid of him. So.
Yeah, no doubt.
Favorite player of the first half?
Good question. Probably say Collins. I really, really like breaking down dominant defensive tackle stuff, and he's been so good. So I'll probably say Collins, but there's a slew of guys I think you can pick for this one. You're not going to be wrong about.
Yeah, I think I'm a little biased here. I think Grant Delpit is one of my favorite players on the Browns, period. But I would also put Fannin in there as favorite first half player.
That's a good one. I like it. He's just very tough after the catch. He's got a real high ceiling because of that stuff if he can master some of the other pieces of the pie here. But Fannin's a fun one.
All right. Down to the last award giving away here tonight. Best project player of the first half.
It's a good one. I think Huntington makes a lot of sense for that. Trying to think other spots. Man, on offense, like you can make a case for Gage Larvadane, I guess.
Yeah.
It's probably Aiden Huntington who's played the best of the guys they're trying to develop. So I think that's probably fair, Brad. I think that's fair.
I think that's who gets it because on a defense, that's where all the developmental players are, like the UDFAs that kind of have made this team or hung around, outside of Larvadan. And none of them have really been able to crack the roster enough to impact the game, but outside of Huntington, I think.
I agree.
So
I'm interested in where that goes post bye week with Mike Hall back full time. We'll see. But he's good enough to play. I want to see Aiden play. I mean, I'd rather he play than Shelby Harris. No offense to Shelby.
Yeah.
I would rather see him try to get better for the future, Because
I think of guys like, McMillan and, even what's our guy's name?
Dom Jones.
Yeah, Dom Jones. Like those guys, I would like to give a tip of the cap to, but they just haven't been able to break into the roster for very much, just kind of wash-up duty in some of these games. But Huntington played significant snaps in games that mattered and made an impact, so I think he gets it. I'm
agreeing. I think that's the fair spot. And he's been a high-level performer when he's gone out there too. So that's always fun to see. Yeah. So that's a wrap. Let us know if we missed anything. Any others you'd prefer? If you have an opinion on a guy we didn't pick for one of those spots. But yeah, it's a little wrap-up of the first half into the second half. The Browns are now 2.5-point favorites in New York because of all of the moving pieces. The mystery at quarterback for the Jets is another thing. So Browns are given points.
Is it contradictory to sell off all your pieces at the trade deadline and still play the quarterback who's going to start a quarterback game?
Yeah. Good, I guess. I guess they're having fun with it. I don't know, man. I said
Kinda
it on
strange,
yesterday's show. They told their Quinnen Williams, not Quinnen Williams, is it Quincy? I think it is.
Quincy.
They're like, not playing well enough. We're going to bench you.
Yep.
And it was just like, all right. They're in a weird spot. I think they're doing everything they can to secure the highest selection for their upcoming season. So we'll see, man. It's going to be, as Scott Mason said behind enemy lines, it's going to be flexed to Tubi on this one. And we will be the few, the proud watching this game. You
Yep.
know, these two networks, or these two what do you call it? Segments of the country, pockets of the country. Markets. That's it. The two markets, Cleveland and New York. They will not. No one else will see this game. It'll be very tight, and everybody try to move on from it. But we'll be there to cover it. We'll do all of it. We have some founders questions we want to get to. We will get to on the Saturday edition when we talk some college ball too. So keep your eye out for that over the weekend, and then before you know it, it will be game day. So we have a lot to cover in a short period of time. We're happy you're with us. Some of you have talked about your experience coming over to the Founders channel and that tier of subscription. We are very happy to have all of you join us who do that.
Yeah.
It's just a very interactive and, you know, as close to the product experience as you can get that a lot of people really love, and we're proud of it. So that's it for today. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Brad and I appreciate you much. And listen, above all else, have a fantastic Friday. And as we say, go Browns.